Okay, so first of all, isn't this a great t-shirt? Sammy Silber from Oil on White designed it. She did a fantastic job. If you want to get your hands on one, I've put a link below in the description to the page where you can purchase it. Okay, so let's talk about the draft. Just to give you a bit of context of where I'm coming from, here's what I had to say back in late March. I'd like to see teams above them in the standings win all 3 lottery spots so that the Oilers' pick drops. Now, I know I'm in the minority on this, but the reason I feel this way is it doesn't matter who they draft. That player needs to play junior hockey or in the American Hockey League next season. And the lower that selection is, the less expectation there is on the player and the management to have that player be an immediate part of the team's future. So naturally, I was really pleased that the Oilers got bumped down to 4th overall in the lottery because I felt they would either trade the pick and get a roster player, some immediate help, or draft a guy who isn't really ready or even expected to play in the NHL next season. So on Friday, when the Columbus management did the inexplicable and drafted Dubois 3rd overall, I said,
"What's happening?"
So this sick cycle carousel of inserting 18-year-olds directly into the lineup is probably going to continue because from what I understand, Puljujarvi, I think that's how you say his name, I'm not exactly sure, is ready to play at the NHL level. It really is bizarre, isn't it? After the blessing in disguise of the Oilers losing the lottery, they somehow got thrust back into the position of having to take the best player available, who just happens to be a highly skilled forward who's NHL ready. It's almost as though the hockey universe would have been completely flipped upside down if the Oilers had drafted a defenseman, so the hockey gods intervened and restored things back to their natural order. And another thing that makes this kind of strange, for me personally anyway, is that I had had extensive conversations with a buddy of mine who is a Flames fan, and I anticipated that the Oilers were going to take Tkachuk at 4, and he felt that Calgary was going to try to trade up and get Puljujarvi at the 3rd spot. But instead, due to the chain reaction the Blue Jackets set off, Edmonton landed Puljujarvi, which elevated Jim Benning's normal level of confusion, causing him to draft a defenseman in a misguided attempt to find a winger to play with the Sedins, which allowed Calgary to pick up Tkachuk. This is the 3rd time in 4 years where I was eyeing up one guy and he wound up going to the Flames. Also, I gotta be honest with you, Puljujarvi is the player I paid the least amount of attention to out of the top 6 or 7 ranked players. You couldn't help but know practically everything about Auston Matthews because the Leafs media was constantly telling us just how great it was going to be for Auston Matthews to be in a Leafs jersey this year as they celebrate their 50-year cup drought. And Laine made quite a name for himself with this seemingly inebriated FaceTime conversation. I assumed, along with, I believe, the majority of the hockey world, that those two and Puljujarvi were automatic picks in the top 3. So I focused most of my attention on Tkachuk, Dubois, and Sergachev. So believe me when I say I was frantically YouTubing his highlights from the World Juniors after the Oilers selected him. So here's the thing. I'm not upset that the Oilers took Puljujarvi, and clearly he isn't either. I've never seen such a happy hockey player. He's smiling so hard he's making my cheeks hurt. Anytime that you can upgrade the talent level and depth on your team, it's a good thing. And this isn't a situation like Oilers teams of the past where they would pin all their new hopes for success on the bright, shiny new toy. But the biggest question I have going forward is, will Puljujarvi have a diaeresis on his jersey nameplate? I'm just kidding, although I'm sure there are some linguistic purists out there who are curious about this. No, my main concern with adding another highly skilled young player to the lineup is that veteran leadership and quality experience are now even more important. As of right now, the only Oiler forwards with playoff experience are Pouliot, Letestu, Maroon, Korpikoski, Hendricks, and Cassian. Most of these guys, some would even say all of them, are bottom 6 forwards. Personally, I would love for the Oilers to sign either Backes, Ladd, or Lucic to play in their top 6. I think this is vitally important because unlike role players who are often on the bench in key offensive situations, one of these guys could provide on-ice leadership in the heat of the moment for the plethora of young, skilled Oiler forwards. I'd love to hear your thoughts, so don't forget to leave your comments below, and don't forget to also like and subscribe. I'll see you next time.